Welcome to the Feminine Forecast for November 7th through 13th. Clear the way, shaving your legs and other manifesting tips. I'm Kerin 𝐒𝐿𝐿. If you're new to me or my work, I'm a mystic and intuitive guide here to help the divine feminine step forward into her spiritual mission and confidently express her soul's gifts. One of the ways I do that is through this weekly forecast, which I've designed to help lightworkers and healers just like you align to collective energy and serve with way more love and way less struggle. If you love the forecast, let me know with a like, a follow, a comment, a share, whatever you can. And if contributing to the energetic exchange feels aligned for you, you can learn all about that down in the show notes or video description. We live in a really noisy world, and it's important to me that the forecast not just add to the noise. To make the most of this week's forecast, I'm going to recommend that you grab your journal and take some notes on the things that resonate, connect through the deepening practices and reflection prompts as well. Now, I really want the feminine forecast each week to be useful, to be relevant and supportive of your spiritual journey. I can guide you in the forecast, but you have to be willing to do the inner work and take aligned action. I'm pretty sure you are one of those women that wants to do that inner work, to do the deep healing, because otherwise I don't think you would be here. This week on the forecast, I'm talking about clearing the way to your desires, as well as sharing 4 of my favorite manifesting tips that are going to help you do just that. Now, gratitude is a big part of my spiritual practice and one that I just absolutely love to share with you. So this week, I am feeling so truly grateful for the cooler weather here in Florida. I moved to Florida about 7 years ago, and while I have acclimated to the heat, I still love me some chilly weather. So I've been having a lot of fun sitting on the patio with a cup of tea, a blanket, and my 𝐒𝐿𝐿, or Italian Greyhound Sebastian, for some morning peace and quiet. And if you are catching the video version of the feminine forecast, you will see my adorable little Sebastian there in his Halloween costume. He went as a dinosaur this year. He goes as a dinosaur every year, to be honest. Okay, so this week I only pulled 1 card because we've had a lot come through in the past previous weeks. I highly recommend revisiting November's monthly forecast as well as the forecast for last week. And in case you missed it, I do have a free deepening ebook that you can grab to use. And you can grab that by accessing the link in the show notes. One of my amazing members in the Wild Hearted Collective did the ebook, and her feedback was just, this deepener is where it's at. So again, any and all resources and links that I mention are going to be down in the show notes. I know I've said that several times already, but I always get an email asking, where can I find all the links? So just click below. This week, I am using Sandra Ann Taylor and Sharon Ann Klingler's Akashic Tarot deck. I just love this one. It's so unique. It just has a very interesting perspective on traditional tarot. And the card that came through was the 4 of Keys, clearing the way. In this card, we see a downed tree on the path, and a man and woman have gotten out of their carriage. The man is holding an axe, and it looks like he's about to get to work on removing the tree so that they can proceed down the path towards their destination. So as you revisit the previous 2 forecasts that I mentioned, drop in and really connect to what specifically within them you are being guided to focus on. As you get clarity on that, you're going to be stepping into the practices and deepeners and reflection prompts that are going to be the most supportive of your journey. You'll start to see your unique path forward and the blocks, limitations, and challenges preventing you from fully stepping into the vision you hold for yourself. We know that we were told November is really about focusing on what we are moving towards rather than what we are leaving behind. But question, are you getting lost in the past? Are you overwhelmed by the present? Maybe you're feeling anxious about the future. Once you have a better understanding of where you're at or where you're putting your energy, you are going to be able to clear your way forward consciously. So to help you in moving forward, I'm going to share my 4 tips on manifesting that I use in my personal practice. These are things that work for me, and I encourage you to find the things that work for you. Now, what I really thought was interesting, as I was preparing for this week's forecast, I noticed that my tips were very much aligned to the cards we were working with in She Faces the Tower. So that's the November monthly forecast. So my first tip, get consistent. This suggestion aligns to that energy of the 8 of Wands we are working with this month. Master manifestors are not special people. They are no different than you or me or the girl next door. You may see some people always manifesting amazing things and living a good life, but how they do that is something everyone can do. People who are master manifestors consistently show up to what works for them. They don't only show up to set new moon intentions or when they have time. They make the time, and they trust that the process is through conscious and committed work. When you find something that is showing you results, stick to it. One of the practices I'm going to share with you today, I showed up to it for 122 days straight. Day 111, oddly enough, to 122, every single thing I asked for manifested in the very exact way I asked for it to. When I saw what was happening, which was right around day 121, I started to get up in my head and I stopped showing up to the practice. Now, this is so common. So often we see people self-sabotage, or I see people self-sabotage, and I'm not the exception to the rule. I do it too. Now, I was able to regroup quite quickly and hop back into the practice, but that pause in the work did knock me out of my manifesting mojo. Staying consistent works. Most of what we want can't manifest overnight. So don't get discouraged after a few days or weeks. Instead, when you find what works, and you're going to sense it, you're going to feel this inner attunement to what you desire, keep going. And here's the thing, if you slip like I did, just get back on the wagon. So tip number 2, script. Scripting is an extremely popular tool talked about in manifesting circles. It's when you write your future into existence by thanking the universe for it as though it's already happened. So it really helps with November's call to look at where you're going, that tower energy. Scripting goes a little like this. Dear universe, you can also use God, source, whatever it is that you connect with, but dear universe, thank you. I am so happy and grateful now that, and then you just write. As you're writing, get into the energy of it. Now, there have been moments in my own practice where I have actually felt like it's already happened. I've really gotten into the after moment. What's so beautiful is that I get signs from the universe that the prayer has been received. I'll actually hear words that I used in my script in a song lyric, or I'll get a whisper or a sign or a message that really helps me call it in. A suggestion for your scripting practice is to commit to it for no less than 30 days. So show up to it for at least 30 days. And then at the end of that 30 days, go back through all of your scripts and highlight everything that manifested. I made that a habit in that 122 days. And I started to see my power to call in and manifest things that I desired. My confidence just grew as a result of seeing how powerful I was and how it was actually happening, because I think sometimes we doubt. Now, so scripting is that practice that I mentioned that I did for 122 days, and a whole lot of abundance and goodness came into my life during that period. But there were a handful of things that I consistently scripted on that never manifested. After I tossed a pity party for myself and got down and kind of wanted to throw in the towel, thinking, okay, well, those things just aren't meant for me, I recognized that I was really being shown my fears and resistance. The things that hadn't manifested, this is a trip here, okay? The things that hadn't manifested were my heart's most deepest prayers. And so this awareness takes me to tip number 3, which is our limiting beliefs. There is a lot of talk in the manifesting circles about focusing on what you want and staying positive. And that's great advice, but what I found is that unless you dive into your fears, your limiting beliefs, and your resistance, you will absolutely never be able to stay focused and positive long enough to actually gain the necessary traction to manifest your big desires. Okay, so unless you do that inner work, it's going to be very hard to stay focused and to stay positive. Working on our limiting beliefs was the very message that we got, again, early November forecast, 8 of Swords. And I bet if you think about something that you really want, you'll notice that you tend to go all in until you begin to question. And when you question, it's usually because you have a fear of it not manifesting or don't believe in your worthiness. Whenever I do my limiting belief work, the energy around my desires lightens, and then they manifest quite rapidly. In fact, that's exactly what happened after those 122 days. After I noticed, oh, those were my prayers, I'm feeling that resistance. After I did that work, I released some of the unconscious beliefs through conscious work. And as quickly as the day after, things started to manifest. That highest vision began to unfold. This is powerful work. And if you're ready to do it, download that free deepener I mentioned earlier because it has a limiting belief exercise in it. And if you need a little extra support and it feels aligned, go ahead and book a one-on-one session with me, a soul support session. We're going to talk it out. We'll move the energy in your body and we'll get you aligned to your desires. All right, now let's hit number 4, your goddess power. So I almost didn't share this tip. And now that I'm in the thick of it, I'm so excited that I did. Okay, this past March, I made probably the biggest and quite frankly, the best investment in my mindset ever. I joined Money Bootcamp with Denise Duffield-Thomas, and this isn't an affiliate thing. I don't want you to think I'm promoting her work. Well, I am sharing her work, and I definitely recommend checking her out. But I couldn't share this upcoming tip without mentioning her because her program was where I learned it, and I do like to give credit where credit is due. So in Money Bootcamp, Denise suggests that when you need some fast cash, shave your legs. What? Yep. Shave your legs, girl. I was totally skeptical, but in the however many months, so from March to time of recording November, every single time I shave my legs, I manifest money. And I will be honest, I've also manifested some other pretty cool stuff. So a few months ago, I really wanted to hit a money goal. So I shaved my legs and hit that goal through unexpected channels within the hour. Now, I thought, why stop at shaving my legs? I set a few other goals and then I went and got my eyebrows done and a bikini wax. I hit all of my goals that day. Now, I've asked in circle and no one knows why this works. We just know it works. But what I've come to realize is that it's actually less about shaving. But I bet saying that got your attention, am I right? And it's more about how we feel after shaving our legs. This manifesting tip is really about bringing you into your goddess self. I feel fabulous and fierce with smooth legs. I also feel fabulous after an amazing session at the gym, wearing dresses, and having fresh flowers around. I've tested it and those things work as well. So here, if shaving your legs isn't your thing, don't worry. Consider what makes you feel like a goddess. What brings you into the energy of the Empress, which came up for the Divine Feminine in November's monthly forecast. Okay, so really consider, what is it that makes you feel like a goddess? What makes you feel like you are in your feminine energy? And it doesn't have to be what I'll say is traditional feminine, viewed as something that's feminine. It could be anything that feels good for you. So those are my 4 tips to manifesting for the month of November. Let me know in the comments which one struck a chord with you. And if you want more support on your spiritual journey, go ahead and consider joining us over in Wild Hearted Collective. Wild Hearted Collective is my monthly membership. It's a sacred space for the feminine light worker. It's a community where she can heal, she can explore her spiritual gifts, and she can step fully into service among like-minded women. So, all right, that is everything I have for you. Every link and resource I have mentioned can be found down in the show notes or the video description. Again, depends on where you are catching this. I love you so much. I am so grateful to be able to share this with you, and I cannot wait to hear what you think. I will see you next week. Bye, guys.